Hi, everybody. It's been a while. I took I think it's been 3 weeks since I've done a podcast, and I kind of just wanted to share what's been going on with me over the last few months and some of the things that I've been not only struggling with, but also working on, overcoming. I mean, there's been a lot for me, and I've had so much on my mind the last few weeks, but have not been able to find the right words to articulate exactly what I'm experiencing. The funny thing is, and I titled this Midlife Crisis because I'm turning 40 in like 2 weeks, and it is just really interesting to me, the things that have been unfolding for me over the past few months. And funny to look back and see how Sean's birthday was over the summer. He turned 40 last summer, and he went through kind of a similar thing where it was like this full-on midlife crisis that now, I mean, that's kind of what we're going to call it because it just makes sense. We're turning 40. He turned 40 over the summer. I'm turning 40 in a couple weeks. And it's been a lot of kind of peeling back layers. And I think this has been an ongoing process for me over the last 3 years, really. It started 3 years ago when I left my religion, and it really has been such a process. I never would have imagined that 3 years later, I would still be working through a lot of these deep-seated beliefs, and so many emotions. I just did not even foresee this. So I wanted to explain my midlife crisis and some of the things that I've been learning through the whole thing. And I think it's been more intensified over the last few months for me. And it's just coincidental, I guess. Or maybe this happens for everybody right before their 40th birthday. It's just like almost like overwhelming. It was so overwhelming for me to a point where I was just feeling like I hadn't made any progress in my life over the last even 10 years. Like, why am I still struggling with some of these feelings that I thought were only for high school girls, like struggling with comparison, self-worth, all of these things. And I might get emotional, but it's just interesting that you can learn so much. You can feel like you've accomplished so much, or sorry, it really just brings up a lot for me to talk about these things, but it's crazy that I could go all these years like doing so much, like feeling so accomplished, like I've done a lot in my life. But it was crazy that I could get to a point where thinking like, have I really accomplished a lot? It's like midlife now, like, it's crazy, right? I started like looking into like, what is the midlife crisis? Like, why is this happen? But you just start to wonder if you've really like fulfilled all the things that you set out to fulfill, or if you've really grown all that much. So yeah, I guess it's just a lot of reflecting on your life. But it's crazy for me because when I'm like feeling emotionally stable, I'm like, how could I get so low? How could I not see all that I've accomplished? I feel like I've worked so hard in a lot of ways. I guess I could never give myself much credit, thinking like all of my success is just mediocre, because there's always somebody that's doing it better, or I don't know, in my eyes, more successful. So I was going to title, this is podcast episode 112, and I was going to title it like putting people on pedestals, but then I realized that actually, no, I think this is more like midlife crisis, because realizing so much of what I've done over the years, and how I have not been able to listen to myself or find my own, I guess, find self-worth in just being me, without all the labels, without all the accomplishments. And I was doing research around the midlife crisis, like I said, and it happens because suddenly, I think for women especially, and I think for me particularly, growing up in a religion that really puts a lot of value on motherhood and having a lot of kids, and which I still think there is a lot of value in motherhood, but it was almost like that was my value. And my youngest went to first grade this year, and so it was like this exciting yet scary season that I stepped into. Like, I kind of didn't even give myself space to really take it all in. I went like straight from, I've just always, a pattern that I see that I do is I just keep myself busy. I'm just always so like focused and like just always busying myself with accomplishing more, doing more, and not really like taking it in. And I think that's kind of what happened. Like, I just jumped right into like career, even though I've always had my blog and my podcast and all these things that I've worked on, but it was always more of like a side thing. But I was like, oh my gosh, finally, this is my season to like really take things to the next level. And so I just like went straight in, became a life coach, and just was really excited about a lot of things, but I never really let things set in. And then I found myself like falling backwards. Felt like I was making so much progress and like, this is so exciting, good, awesome season of my life. But I felt like I had fallen back like years. All the things that I had worked on, when it comes to my personal development. I felt like I was, like I said, went back to high school. Why am I feeling these feelings of self-doubt and not seeing the value in who I am, and without being a mom? I mean, I'm still a mom, but it's just different now. I'm not having babies, and I think I really thought that was my main purpose, to have babies. And then when you're not having babies anymore, you're like, oh my gosh, and then you start to see like they're gonna be all grown up and they're gonna move out, and like, then what? Who am I? So there's just a lot of layers and a lot of things that I had to really analyze and consider. So I needed to kind of take a step back, I think, from everything that I was pursuing, and give myself time to really find like this deep value that I know I have, but I just like had so many other things that I thought was what brought value to me. Well, there's so many different things, so maybe it'll come up as I start to talk a little bit more about it. But I wrote something a couple weeks ago, and I just kind of wanted to read it now because it really expresses